Welcome back to another day of living in the new house. We have a couple of things to update you on before we physically get on with some stuff today. And the first one is revolving this plate. So you may have known from one of the previous vlogs that we actually have 3 dials, and this is the trim plate for those dials to go on. And what can you spot? There's only 2 holes. I did actually contact the supplier and say, do you do a 3-hole version? They said no. I said, is there another brand that does a compatible 3-hole version? They went, no. So we were in a bit of a pickle, but thankfully, me working in engineering, contact at work has kindly agreed to get one made for me. So last night I sat down and using the best CAD 3D modelling package in the world, Microsoft Word, because it's what I had access to, I knocked up this drawing, which you'll see a time-lapse of now. So yeah, we now have at least a design on the way. Now I have in that actual drawing made these holes slightly close together because what I didn't want to end up with was a really long plate, but we've made it slightly longer, bunched things up slightly, got some nice spacing on it. So that's going to get made, it's going to get chrome plated, it's going to get shipped back to us, and then hopefully before Christmas that'll be here and we'll be able to actually put the dials on the wall. So that is a mammoth good piece of progress, but it took me a little bit of time to sort that yesterday. It wasn't much interesting going on, so that pretty much was yesterday. This morning, I then got up and I went to go get these tested at the opticians. Did a load of testing work. Long and short summary of it is my eye health is actually really good, whatever that means. The back of my eyes work properly or something or other, but I didn't really understand. There were lots of complicated drawings and stuff like that. And the other one is that my right eye is a bit, I think it's short-sighted, or I can't remember which way around it was. Basically, things in the distance are blurry, unfortunately. Close-up is fine. And it's not really to do with any screen uses or anything else like that. So most of my migraine stuff is actually being caused, hope by the sounds of it, by like long distance driving, staring out into the distance for long periods of time. So I have been recommended to get a set of glasses for driving, which I now have a prescription for, which should fix mostly my right eye. My left one is actually pretty good, which is good. So yeah, we're going to have to sort out getting some glasses at some point. That brings us up to date for where we are today, and what we're going to be getting on with is this front bedroom. I know we've been talking about it for a little while, but the first job I want to get on with is getting that plasterboard above the window ledge, and then hopefully get on with replastering this ceiling and dealing with all the bumpy stuff, so that we're ready to move into this room. So time for me to shut up and time to get on with some work. Actually, though, one more thing I do need to do, and that is actually loft ladder situation. So I was looking earlier at the loft ladders that are available. I actually need to jump up there and have a bit of a measurement to see if the one I'm looking at is actually going to fit up there. So yeah, I'll join you in the loft in a second with a tape measure and see how dire the situation is up there. Right, let me walk you through the whole loft ladder debacle that's going on here. You'll be like, oh, there's a loft ladder here. Unfortunately, because we now have the hot water tank in the loft all the way up there, there's the height advantage coming in, we actually have to have a fixed loft ladder in place with a handrail to meet building regs, unfortunately. So we have to get something in here. Now, there are 2 types of loft ladders we can get. One of them is ones that fold up inside the actual loft hatch itself, so they sit flat almost with the floor line. The other one is ones that you kind of push up into the loft space. Both of them unfortunately come with their added challenges. So for my preference, I would prefer to have the ladders on this side of the loft hatch. So you've got plenty of space over here. You're not working backwards if you're stepping down over the stairs. And it's easier then to obviously put boxes, everything else like that up into this space over here. Problem with that is that to get the ones that fold into the loft hatch, obviously you have to fold in the length of the ladder, unfortunately, which means the loft hatch needs to grow to be about 1200 millimeters, so 1.2 meters effectively, which basically brings us all the way out over here, unfortunately. What it also needs is an amount of swing to be able to swing past the wall. And generally that's like 1.6 meters. Now this room is about this hallway is about 1.7 meters wide. So we would have to basically have the loft hatch all the way over there to get enough swing over to there, which then means we're over the stairs. So I think the fitting into the loft hatch flat is not going to be ideal, or not even going to be possible unless we get like a completely collapses down one, and you can get the ones that like collapse upwards, like they're like corrugated almost, or scissors basically, and they chop up, but they're like 700-800 quid, and I really don't want to be spending 700-800 quid on a loft ladder. So I think that kind of rules out that option, unfortunately, which then means we have to go for the option where you push them up into the loft space, which comes with its own challenges. Now, the challenges with that one is because it physically sits upwards in here, you actually need about 71 centimeters clearance up there with most of the loft ladders for the ladder to sit into, which I do not have if I want to mount the ladder that way, which unfortunately then means I need to mount the ladder on this side, which then means I'm now in and working over the stairs. So I'll rejoin you in a second when I flip this loft ladder around to show you the possible problem we're going to have. You see the problem here? Yeah, it basically lands where the handrails are gonna land, unfortunately. Now, I can move the loft hatch. So if you look here, we are going to be putting coving back into the hallway. This is the line where the old coving was, so I have got some room here. So I could move this whole hatch 20 centimeters that way, move that 20 centimeters that way, which gives me a little bit more playroom. But I don't know whether that's going to work, but it may just end up being the only option, unfortunately. Now, when we were originally discussing it with Alex, is what we're actually going to say is actually it'd be really better if we could move the loft hatch from this joist space into this joist space. But because we decided we were having spotlights, that's no longer now feasible, unfortunately, because otherwise they would have been off kilter. If we'd had a rose joint in the middle, would have been fine, but because we decided to have spotlights and everything else going in here, we couldn't actually move the loft ladder. So we're kind of in a sticky situation here. So I'm going to have a look at these ladders and see if this is the best option and whether it's actually going to be feasible. I'm going to do a load of measurement for it. Otherwise, the worst comes to the absolute worst. So we may actually have to move the loft hatch into one of the bedrooms, which I really don't want to do because yeah, I like my bedrooms without loft hatches in them. But yeah, I'm going to do some more measurement. I'm going to make a decision, and then we're going to get a loft hatch and loft ladder ordered, and just see how it goes. I guess it's kind of have to be yeah, we'll improvise and adapt and overcome as we go through this situation. We have accepted the scenario with the loft ladder, and we have now ordered one. So this is the one we are ordered, and this is the loft hatch we have now ordered. I went for the one that's got the better thermal insulation rating as well, so the lower the value, the better the thermal efficiency in terms of heat leakage out into the house. I mean, currently it's fantastic because there's a hole in the loft, but yeah, we went for the slightly better one. So that is ordered. It should be arriving Monday and / Tuesday next week, which is good. And then we will at some point have to work out how we're going to shift all of this way to give ourselves as much landing space as we can do. But ladder is at least on the way, so there's one problem solved. Time to get on with some of the jobs we've been putting off now, so let's get on with that plasterboard around the window, which we said we were going to do earlier, but then got distracted by loft ladders. One re-plastered window ledge ready for filler, taping, and actually getting it re-plastered. Very successful. This was the stuff we used. If anybody hasn't seen it before, it's called Sticks Like Shit, and it literally does what it says on the tin. It's like Ronseal. Fun story time, I actually had a tube of this that wasn't the turbo version and wasn't as quite as aggressive as this. And I had some heat shielding drop off the exhaust of my car, and I needed to temporarily refix it just for a short period of time before I got it fixed. So I used that stuff, and 18 months later it was still stuck on. So, and that was obviously round a hot exhaust on the road with the salt, the grit, the wind, the wet, everything else, and it was on. So I'm very, very confident that this will not fall down. He says, watch it fall down now in like 2 years' time. I'm like, aha, it didn't do so well. But yeah, that is now in. It's much later on the evening because plumber man Alex has been round, looking around, talking around a few bits. He has actually now gone and put the right angle in for that waste pipe now. So we now have a waste pipe coming in there, which means I can actually get on with boarding this at some point as well. But it is late. I am in work tomorrow, so we're not going to do too much more. So I think the plan of attack over the sort of next couple of days is we're going to get this boarded, get all the headers in, get the hallway completely finished. The ladder should then be here on Monday, Tuesday, so we'll work on moving this off as well. And we need to work on fixing those corner beads and then doing the plastering inside of here. So there's quite a long list of jobs for us to get on with. Which we're hoping to have a good run over the weekend, and I'm using up the rest of my holiday for work over the course of next week as well, so we should have plenty of time before Christmas to get on with some bits. How far we get, I do not know, but we will hopefully get there. But anyway, that's going to be it for today. Me and my wonky eyes are going to be signing off for today, and just leaves me to say happy hunting, and we'll see you all in tomorrow's vlog.